right, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Cohen here with you on the Sports Talk Nation, and we got a lot to discuss. Black Monday, as they like to call it in the NFL, is just around the corner, just hours away, and the rumors are starting to really kick up. Let's discuss it. All right, folks, again, Michael Cohen here with you, Sports Talk Nation, and we start things off here. Again, Black Monday, just around the corner here. I know, obviously, we still have Week 18 as that's getting going right now, and certainly a lot of playoff races are at stake, but certainly a lot of jobs are also at stake, and a lot of teams are going to be making some moves. Right now, of course, as we all know, we have the three vacancies that exist right now: the Jets, the Saints, the Bears. More are coming, and it could be involving the Giants, could be involving the Patriots, just to name a couple other teams that could be jumping into the mix, and they all have an effect, obviously, on one another. Now, I'll start things off with this. The Jets interviewed Mike Vrabel on Friday, the number one candidate in the eyes of many, myself, many other fans, would love to see Mike Vrabel become the head coach of the Jets because they need that culture changer. And they need someone that has experience. He's had certainly a lot of experience, not just as a player, but as a head coach, has had success as a head coach with the Tennessee Titans. He is the number one choice among a lot of people in the fan base. And I get the sense even in people in the media as well would probably tag him as a number one target for just about any team that is looking for a head coach at this moment in time. The fact that the Jets were first in line and able to make that happen when they are one of three vacancies that currently exist certainly is a plus for them. It gives Vrabel to get that first impression of their organization and kind of measure them against some of the other teams that he's going to interview with. So that doesn't hurt the Jets at all. Could actually help them in that way. And from everything that's been reported, Connor Hughes of SNY saying that the interview went very, very, very well. Take that for whatever that may mean. Maybe it means that something is possible down the road. Maybe it means nothing. You never know how these things go because they are interviews nonetheless. And as we all know, the Jets are going to continue their search. Vrabel is going to continue his search as he tries to find the right spot for himself. Certainly, the Bears and Saints are going to be involved, and I think you could see, there's always potential that the New England Patriots could get involved. There's obviously been the rumors about the Las Vegas Raiders. He was connected to them. There's been, obviously, with the Brady connection, and obviously the Patriots, the team that he played almost the better part of his career with, certainly could be in the mix as well if they let go of Jared Mayo. So we'll see how that thing plays out. Again, the fact that he interviewed was the first guy to interview, the first team to interview with him was with the Jets, and the fact that it went well certainly has to make Jet fans feel pretty good about themselves. Now the question is going to be, and one thing that has been reported consistently is that he's looking for a number of things from an organization. One, stability. Two, he would like to have, obviously, some say in personnel and also have some stability in the quarterback situation. Now, that may not necessarily ring true with the Jets, especially the quarterback position. Aaron Rodgers likely on his way out. We don't know who the quarterback will be going into next season, and the GM situation certainly still in flux. Now, I've heard the name bandied about by other bloggers and reporters, although nothing is really official. Is the name Ryan Cowdan, who is an assistant GM with the Giants. Cowdan is interesting because he worked with Vrabel in Tennessee with the Titans, and apparently he is somebody that Vrabel is very close to and would like to work with again, potentially as a general manager. So and this kind of leads into the Giants here a little bit as well. Would the Jets put a feeler out there to get Cowdan to potentially interview with them for their GM job? If that happens, that certainly says a lot about how that interview with Vrabel went and how far along the process that may be. And if you're the Giants, do you grant that interview? And the only reason I say that is because there's now a lot of rumors about what's going to go on in the Giants situation. Giants, right now the rumor is that the Giants may keep Joe Schoen, but may let Brian Daboll, head coach, go. If you were the Giants, let's just say you had Vrabel as one of your candidates, Why would you give the Jets permission to interview Cowdan if that's the way to draw Vrabel over to the Giants? Very interesting thought process right there. I mean, that's just me spitballing for a second. We'll see how that plays out. But then again, teams aren't good. Not teams don't always necessarily play that kind of hardball. And I would imagine if this individual Cowdan is available and the Giants are willing to let him interview with the Jets, they'll certainly do that. We'll see. Now, all this news, of course, the Vrabel interview, the rumors about Brian Daboll with the Giants getting potentially losing his job after the finale on Sunday, and maybe the Giants keeping Joe Schoen. In addition to all that, the Jets are prepared to interview Rex Ryan on Tuesday. That's now going to happen. And as I alluded to in my last video on Ryan, do the Jets really want to go down this road again with him? Now, I understand, had a lot of success the first 2 years. The last 4 were not very good. They weren't. A lot of things went wrong at the end of Ryan's tenure with the Jets. Do the Jets want to go down that road with a guy who has, yes, been successful with them in the past, but hasn't coached the NFL in over almost a decade? Spent a large part of that on television, and really no other team other than the Jets would be looking at Rex Ryan at this point. So in some ways it doesn't make sense, but it is, again, it's the Jets. They're going to grant him this opportunity to do this interview, and we'll see how far along that would go. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if Rex Ryan ends up being in the run, not just interviewing, but also in the running deep into this process. It would not shock me one way or the other, especially if candidates start to drop off the list. And one candidate that could potentially drop off the list is Aaron Glenn, if you believe these rumors, this coming from Tony Pauline, that Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is set to become the Saints' next head coach. And this is from this tweet. And while several candidates have been connected as the Saints' next coach, league sources tell me when it's all said and done, it will be Aaron Glenn who lands the job. Now, again, remember last week we had the prediction by Rich Smeeney that said that he thought Aaron Glenn was going to go to the Jets. Now we see this by Tony Pauline that he says Aaron Glenn's going to go to the Saints. Who knows? But let's just take this for what it is. Let's just say that Aaron Glenn does go to the Saints. That's now a candidate that drops off the list. Mike Vrabel, of course, is the Jets' top candidate, but let's just say he drops off the list. And now if you're the Jets, now you're kind of scurrying through the remains of these other candidates to try to find a head coach. And that's when someone like a Rex Ryan comes into play. And that's what would start to make him a little more attractive to, let's say, Woody Johnson, to try to appease the fan base. And maybe even some fans who would like to see Rex back, although I think it's time to move on. That chapter has been closed in my mind. And then there is this rumor that's out there. And this report coming from journalists from both ESPN, CBS, Josinia Anderson, that the Jets have internally discussed interviewing Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith and Commanders offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury for their head coaching vacancy. Scheduling an actual interview is always a mutual decision, so we'll see what occurs in that situation. Sources around the league have been talking about the perception factors surrounding the Jets opening, both positive and not so positive, as we all know, especially after that story that came out from The Athletic. So that is also an interesting development. The Jets interviewed Kingsbury a long time ago, right around the time they hired Adam Gase in 2019, and obviously that didn't go very far. Kingsbury ended up going to the Cardinals and had, despite making the playoffs, I think he made the playoffs only 1 year, mostly a mediocre tenure over there in Arizona, and Arthur Smith has had the definition of mediocrity in Atlanta. But would it shock me if the Jets ended up, if all their top candidates just went by the wayside, ended up with, say, an Arthur Smith or a Kliff Kingsbury? No, it would not. In fact, folks, it's part of my bold predictions of the year, because on the Fox Sports Radio New Jersey website, I'm going to include the link here. Boldest New York sports predictions for 2025, and you can scroll through this list. You can scroll through it, laugh at it, look at it in horror, whatever you want to do. But in that list, I did mention that the Jets are going to end up with somebody like Arthur Smith as their head coach. That's my fear. After an exhaustive search, the Jets finally get their head coach. Granted, it may not happen until very late January. The Woody Johnson meddling story plus the Aaron Rodgers drama proves fatal for New York, as most candidates opt for other jobs or just say thanks but no thanks. Gangrene's choice comes down to Arthur Smith and Rex Ryan. The Jets opt for the younger coach in Smith. Some fans who want Rex back blast the move, others more patient. Regardless, doesn't stop Jets Twitter from comparing Smith to, you guessed it, Adam Gase. That is more not just a prediction but a fear if these top candidates end up dropping off for New York in the coming weeks. Because again, there's going to be a lot of jobs coming up and opening up. Another prediction that I made in here was that I thought that Brian Daboll and Joe Shane would keep their jobs. And now you hear the rumors that it could be Shane keeping the job and Daboll leaving. So all of a sudden, the Giants would become one of those teams that could be an open job, and that could end up taking a top candidate away from the Jets, like a Mike Vrabel or somebody else. So things could get very, very interesting very quickly here. It's going to be a lot of stuff flying around, right? You're going to have a lot of rumors flying. So we'll see how this thing plays out. Again, if you want to read this entire bold predictions, and some of them may actually come true. Some of them may actually come true. I even throwing prediction in there about Aaron Rodgers announcing his retirement and comeback. Shortly after the Jets announce their head coach, Aaron Rodgers announces on the Pat McAfee show, of course, that he's going to retire from football. Then 2 months later, while we're all sitting here filling out our brackets for March Madness, guess what? Rodgers hints at a comeback. And then when we sit here for about a month making predictions about when and if he'll come back, he'll announce it on McAfee that he's coming back, and then the Jets will eventually trade or release him. That's another prediction in the bold prediction article you can take a look at and listen as well. FoxSportsRadioNewJersey.com. I'll include the link in the description below. But folks, we'll have to wait and see how this thing breaks out. It is a good first step that the Jets got the chance to interview Vrabel first. They've interviewed Vrabel and Ron Rivera. Rex Ryan is coming up on Tuesday. We'll see how that one breaks out. And then after that, it could be an Arthur Smith, Kliff Kingsbury, and God knows who else. Maybe Aaron Glenn ends up getting that interview with the Jets as well. Maybe he doesn't exactly go right away to the Saints. We'll see how things play out. So the craziness of Black Monday and the entire NFL offseason is about to commence. And in fact, it's commenced already, and we haven't even completed Week 18. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.